Okay, so people are wondering what's up with TikTok. Uh, okay, I'm gonna tell you what's happening with TikTok and why it's happening. The reason TikTok is glitchy and the reason like things aren't going the way you want to, while your For You page is bad and your videos are bad, is because of something called data migration. Now, data migration is something normal internet users never come across, but it's a real thing. I've done it several times, and what happens during data migration is quite a number of things. First of all, if you're going to be transferring an app from one database system to another database system, there will be a period where everything that has been cached, you know what cached is. Cached is when information gets stored in a place until it's ready to use by the user. Well, these caches, when you migrate from one database system to another, these caches have to empty out and then they have to repropagate. They have to reconstitute themselves again in the new database. And this sometimes takes I've never seen it or done it in anything less than four days. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks depending on the number of databases and the size of the database system. And we know TikTok is pretty big. Another thing that's probably happening is that data centers don't run off of one, or TikTok does not run off of one IP address. TikTok runs off of hundreds, maybe even thousands of IP addresses. When you migrate from one system to the other, then the IP addresses have to be changed. Now, when you change IP addresses, again, the caching system, the things that the things that make things seem like they are fast to the end user, these things have to be cleared out and they have to repropagate. And again, this takes days, if not weeks, depending on the size of the systems that you're talking about. So when your video is glitchy, or your video disappears or something like that, it may not be actually gone. It might be that you made the video at a time period when the cache system and database propagation was happening, and so it might have been caught in transition. Maybe it'll show up later again, a week from now. Maybe not, because if you fall in between the cracks, then the information data can be lost during the transition. And this is normal. This is absolutely normal. I have, in 30 years of programming, I have never seen this not happen. It's totally normal. And so for people to spread rumors about how bad Oracle is doing and everything else, Oracle probably is not doing anything really bad. They're just doing what all these transition teams do. For instance, a long time ago when we were doing forums, internet forums like Reddit. Reddit was a forum before. And whenever a forum gets like somewhere around 180,000 users, then the database system would start failing. So you would have to add in a new server. Well, the thing is that those IP addresses are not just a single IP address. What happens is when you tune into that, then there's a system called a round robin system. It goes, it looks for the data cache and the first IP address, looks for a data cache and second, third, fourth, and fifth. Every time a user goes in, then the system looks for which one of these IP addresses and which database cache, which server on the data center is free. If a server is too busy, then it goes on to the next server. Now the problem with this this type of system during data migration, a system migration, is that you might be sitting on the first opportunity of of a round robin system. And then because of something we call network throughput, this is the communication of the internet, and buffering and all kinds of things like that happen, then what you're doing here may not ever get pushed over to the next IP address or the next or even the next, which means that things will be blank out. You will lose things like sound on your video because the codecs that produce the sound and package the sound are on this server, and then they are not present on this server. So you get a problem where data is going to be missing because it's on here, but it is not yet propagated on the second one, or the third one, or the fourth one. In all meaning, just to make this simple, I have never seen data propagation from some place like Facebook or Instagram or anything like that not take at least 6 weeks for complete propagation. I remember when Facebook started moving all of their data centers all over the world and started spreading their data centers all over, then Facebook was like glitchy as hell, simply because of data migration. And so people, you just have to deal with that. You just have to, and this is all stuff that, yes, I know it because, yes, I've been in IT for 30 years, but you, the guy that trusts AI, you trust that everything in the background works automatically. It is not, these things are not perfect. They still require human interaction. They still require everything to be tended to and redone. And these things take time. So when you think that TikTok is suddenly just bad, it's not suddenly just bad. This is what is supposed to happen. And there's nothing, not one thing TikTok, Oracle, or any other system can do about it. If suddenly Facebook starts getting massive data centers in China, example, if China all of a sudden say, okay, Facebook, you can come back, and then Facebook had to have data centers in China, then Facebook would suddenly start being very glitchy. Things would start disappearing or not showing up. Now, it's not that things disappear on the system, but they disappear for the user. Sometimes you might get a white screen. Sometimes you might get an error call for the DNS system. Now, the domain name system is also a problem, because when you transfer a DNS from one DNS server, Google has its own DNS servers. If TikTok suddenly TikTok was using Google's DNS servers, and then during the transition, TikTok is now going to have their own DNS servers, then it automatically will make it have to be. It will take two days for the domain names to propagate, which means that all those connecting things for advertising and everything else will fail, and it always takes 2 days. But I gotta tell you, on systems like TikTok, as big as TikTok is, DNS cache propagation is probably gonna take 2, maybe 3 weeks. So just sit around and wait, twiddle your thumbs, and just wait for things to get back to the way they were, because they will be that way again. But as I said, these things take time.